But then mostly, if we look at the world, what is being taught in the name of Advaita Vedanta is heavily distorted. But when we hold on to the lower truth, saying that this is my book, this is my religion, this is what it is saying, and this itself is the highest truth, that is where we get stuck. So it first of all disqualifies a certain segment of society, and it simply says that this is not for you. You can, there's nothing wrong. It's not a judgment, but it's just that based on their nature and based on where they are at in their own journeys, non-duality is not for a lot of people. So you finding truth is one thing, and taking someone else to that level is another thing. But when you gave the example of Sri Ramana Maharshi, he was not enduring the pain. He had transcended the pain. It's a different domain altogether where pain does not affect him at all. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. I'm Sujan Setty. I'm a life architect. I am an architect basically by profession. But I got fascinated, by the teachings of ancient Advaita Vedanta when I was going through a certain difficult phase of my life. These teachings and this wisdom helped me, and they showed me the way. So Advaita Vedanta is the source of what we call non-duality today. Across the world, whatever we call non-duality, it comes from the ancient wisdom of Advaita. Advaita literally means non-duality. So I began studying these teachings, especially the teachings of Adiguru Shankaracharya. He was a master who lived around 1,000 years ago in ancient India, in Bharat, and so it has been it's a lifelong journey. I'm still learning, but along the way, as I began to evolve with these teachings, I published my book Decoding God, and then we started our community that is called Advaita Conscious Society. It's based on the wisdom of Vedanta for the modern world. So, and I truly believe that non-duality, Advaita, is the highest way to look at reality, to understand reality, and to find that true, deep, lasting fulfillment in life for anyone. So, this has been the mission to take the wisdom of Vedanta to the world. It has been our mission, and that is what we are working towards.
There must have been like a moment where you acknowledged the value of being like entertaining yourself with spiritual questions. Do you remember what was there a cause?
Throughout my childhood, my parents, especially my father, has been interested in spirituality. So not Advaita Vedanta per se, but different spiritual teachers, different books. He used to study Eckhart Tolle. So we were exposed to the wisdom of what spirituality is, in general. But like as I grew up, as I became a teenager, I was totally lost from this path. I was totally distracted. I got involved with many things, and we go through our own journey. And in that journey, I had to lose someone who was close to me, and it took me to a phase of suffering, and that again brought me different questions. And along this journey, I had also started working on myself in terms of personal development. I began studying these teachings of what they call law of attraction, manifestation. So these kinds of teachings for over a decade, I got really, really deep into that. But then, although I was creating certain results in my life, there was never true fulfillment as such. There was never deep understanding of what reality is and who I am, and what it's all about. And like this, as I was building my firm as an architect, I was going through a lot of stress and anxiety because of the workload and everything. I was somewhere deep within, I was searching for answers. That is when at some point I began finding certain teachings of Advaita Vedanta here and there. I found a book, I found certain videos, and I went into the rabbit hole. And once I began to truly understand what these ancient teachings were saying, I could not stop myself. I simply, for years and years, I just went deep into it. So that is how I came to this.
May I say that you are self-studied? You just learned through
Yes.
books, or did you have also some persons those advised?
It's majorly self-study, but then after I began exploring these teachings, after I began understanding these teachings, at some point I began approaching different teachers. Some answers and some teachers resonated with me, some did not. But like it's been a self-study.
And in your area, for example, you have teachers, those have lineage with Advaita Vedanta teaching.
So the problem is the original essence of Advaita, the lineage itself. If we try to understand what now different teachers are saying, that teachings itself has have been distorted. There are very small ashrams, in certain places who have preserved the authenticity of the original Advaita Vedanta of Adi Shankaracharya. And I was, privileged to visit certain ashrams. This is actually after I began studying and after I went deep into it. But then mostly, if we look at the world, what is being taught in the name of Advaita Vedanta is heavily distorted from the original essence. But then, yeah, like I got to speak with certain people in this journey, and even that gave me great clarity.
There's a lot of language around it because there's so many Sanskrit words. Those are used in Advaita teaching. Do you speak yourself Sanskrit?
I studied Sanskrit as a school kid for a certain number of years, but that was the basics of Sanskrit. It's a very, Sanskritam is a very deep language, and it requires a lot of deep exploration. So I don't fully comprehend the language and I cannot speak it fully. But if there is a sentence, I can read it, and certain verses, certain words, I can understand it. But I mostly rely on authentic translations.
I think that might help, right? To understand certain things. But then, as I listening to people, sometimes they use the same Sanskrit word, but then has different meanings. It depends on the context and what
Correct.
they are talking about. So
Correct.
it's not that
Correct.
easy, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, it requires some time and for
Maybe
us to master it.
don't you think it's because of that? It's kind of very important to have like a guru or have someone who actually understand what he's talking about.
Yes, it is. But the advantage with Advaita Vedanta is that it's an intuitive science. Shankaracharya calls it intuitive science in the sense you can read a verse, not look at it from as a dogma, as a belief system, but we can immediately look at that with respect to our own experience, our own being. So every verse we can study and then we can examine our own self and our own life experience and correlate them, and only if it makes sense for us in terms of our experience, only then it is authentic, and only then the truth is the truth. Otherwise it's just a belief system. So in that way, there is it requires a certain level of intelligence and a support of someone who is totally absorbed into it is very helpful. But at the same time, it is not possible in every case. People are across the world. People who authentically study the original essence of Advaita Vedanta are very, very rare to find. At least that has been, in my experience. And whatever people are teaching in the name of Advaita Vedanta, of course, there is some elements of the original essence, but then the certain essence of it is missing. But then, yeah, since this is an intuitive science, we can go about even studying this from authentic translations and begin exploring our own, our own self along the way.
There's many people out there, a couple of them I talked to. They already had some experiences, some kind of
Mm,
touching the truth, touching the invisible world, like having the feeling of being one with everything,
mm,
realized in themselves, and then they have it for a little moment, and they have to use their own words to describe it. What is not to be described is completely difficult, and then they lose it again, and it's I don't think it's like a very easy matter. There's one part of it is kind of easily to understand. Everything is one. Okay, easy. There we go. Okay, we got it. I go home now. I go back. I only can do that on the weekends. I will go back now to my normal world where I have day and night and this and that.
yeah. Mhm,
So, what do you think about these people, though? They even start teaching, they have an experience
mm,
and there's no lineage, nothing.
mm,
It just
mm,
happened. It's kind of like a flower who blossoms,
mm.
out of
Correct.
nothing. We don't know where it comes from, but it just happens.
I don't think there is inherently anything wrong in teaching someone, because wherever we are, there are certain people who need our support, who lack the understanding that we have. At the same time, there are people who have a higher perspective than us. So taking help from someone who is at that level, who has a higher perspective, and helping someone who is still at another level, it's not, there's nothing wrong inherently. But the advantage with the traditional system of Advaita Vedanta is, this is a system that has been very meticulously developed for thousands and thousands of years. So imagine the ancient civilization of India, where for thousands and thousands of years there were no wars, there were no famines. It was a well flourishing, abundant civilization, and these philosophers, these ancient rishis, they thoroughly understood the truth for what is. And for thousands of years, what they did was, they precisely developed frameworks and systems on how to take this and make transformation possible for an ignorant person. So we call it research and development, right, in the modern world. So imagine a system that has been developed after thousands and thousands of years of research and development. Wherever a seeker can go wrong, like you mentioned, getting that glimpse once, but they lose it. Why does that happen? Like, what are the causes of it, how to navigate it? Everything has been thoroughly thought of, and there are answers for every single question. So this is the advantage of the traditional Advaita Vedanta. Now, of course, a Western or any from any part of the world, any teacher might find that truth, and he might try to teach it to someone else. There's nothing wrong in that. Of course, people find it valuable, but we cannot compare it with a system that has been developed for thousands and thousands of years by thousands and thousands of enlightened beings. So it's a very different thing. So I find that the strength of the system should be used for our advantage for the modern world. And these frameworks, these ancient, we need to be aware of it, so that we can leverage it for navigating it in the right way.
In your case, you are offering yourself as a teacher, I understand. What is the motivation behind that? Why should you care? Because you already have one job. Why should you do this?
I just like doing it. That's all. I don't. I do not even. I never even call myself a teacher. I simply, I came up with a when we thought of, we should give some name to what we do. So I came up with the word life architect, because I was an architect before, and this is the design. This is understanding life. That was understanding construction and buildings. So that is the term I use, because it's just that I do not know what else to do now. So it's just that I love exploring these teachings. I love talking about it. I love sharing it, and if someone helps, I like to offer whatever I can. So it's just that.
Now we speak in English. But you also use your own language, you use other languages or only English?
No, primarily it's only been English.
Okay, so many people like in India approach you as well, and they talk English to you?
Yeah, like in the sense, what happened was uh, when we started the channel, when we started our YouTube channel, I was primarily studying different things in English, and I was more comfortable in English. So we started in that. As audience, as it grew, more and more people started approaching us. They began joining our community. So we started developing certain systems and programs. So everything has been in English.
So you are not alone. You have like a crew. You are several people. I understand. Yes.
Yeah, we have a small team now.
I wonder also Advaita for it's very attractive for a lot of people. They like to think about stuff. They are very intellectual. They like to study. They like to understand complex concepts. And then there's also this other part of spirituality, which is devotion. How far do you are actively a devotee? Do you do anything in that direction as well?
Yeah, more and more every day. It's been, initially I was very skeptical of it as I began exploring Advaita Vedanta, and even when I was young, uh, devotion sort of didn't resonate with me that much. So before I didn't even bother about the concept of God when I was very young. But even after I started exploring different philosophies, and even when I started understanding Vedanta, uh, I understood and I thought it's all one, it's all within us. What is the point of God? What is the point of devotion? This was, somewhere this was kind of my thought process. But certain teachers, especially one Swamiji, he literally, his teachings really touched me, and now I'm very much into devotion. And my Ishta Devata, my personal god is Narayana. It's Mahavishnu. So I do not have any particular practice as such, but every day for 10 minutes I sit in meditation. So devotion is becoming more and more a part of my life, and I find it very useful and supportive in my journey.
I wonder, like in India, when you talk about Advaita Vedanta, is it something that everyone knows? I'm just excuse my ignorance because I don't know India. I'm talking
Yeah.
about something I have no experience. But how is
Yeah.
it? How are the roots of Advaita in this in society in India?
There are different levels to it, but most of the civilization is not aware of it. People who are aware of it, and people who know that this is the truth know that this is the truth. The problem with India is there are so many teachers and so many paths. In one way it's an advantage because a seeker gets to choose different paths based on their orientations, based on their nature. But at the same time there have been certain wrong, sort of misguided paths also. And it's sort of a lot of things are in India, a lot of teachings and concepts and philosophies. But this Advaita Vedanta is called as the unbroken lineage. For thousands and thousands of years, we can trace back the lineage, which is an unbroken lineage. And this has been the essence of Sanatana Dharma. Whatever we call Hinduism today, Advaita Vedanta directly comes from the teachings of the Upanishads, which are the essence of the Vedas themselves. So this is the entire backbone and the foundation of Sanatana Dharma. But like in general, most people are not aware of it. Of course, they know the name Advaita, and they know Adi Guru Shankaracharya is a very prominent figure here. But to the level of understanding the depths of what it is and all that, there is only a certain segment of society that understands.
Yes, Shankaracharya, Vivekananda, these people,
Mm.
they are gone long time. Do you think there will be someone like them who takes these Upanishads and start to explaining them again? Which will be very, very hard, I think, because
Mhm.
it's so
Definitely, I would.
well done.
Mhm. Correct. They have set a they have set very high standards, But I think it's definitely possible. India has been a land that has given these kind of great teachers to the world, from Shankaracharya to, like you said, Swami Vivekananda, Ramana Maharshi, whatever we see across the world today, right? In whatever non-duality, spirituality, yoga, tantra, everything has its root in India. So India is the spiritual capital of the world, and it has given great beings to the world. So since it has done it before, I definitely feel it's possible, and there is potential here.
There's a lot of non-duality teachers out there now, and sometimes I have the feeling that they have a similar understanding of what truth is or what the one is, where everything comes from, but they talk a completely different language, and yeah, it's the language maybe sometime it's a barrier. I mean, if I go here and I go into a restaurant here and I say anyone knows about Brahman, people will
Mhm.
like freak out. They don't know what it means, where it comes from, and if even if
Correct.
they hear the word, they feel like I this is strange. I don't know. So it's a kind of a barrier.
Correct. Yeah, and definitely there are many teachers, and there are many wonderful teachers. Even I read from some of them, and I listen to some of them, because the truth is the truth. Whether Shankaracharya said it 1,000 years ago, whether some person in America says it today, the truth is always the truth. And any person who has gone to that level and who has that perspective, when he begins to speak about it, of course there will be some elements which will match, because it is the ultimate truth. But then, like I said, coming to my earlier point, these frameworks have been developed for thousands and thousands of years. So there is one, I heard this from someone. They said there is one thing to find the truth yourself, based on your karma, based on God's grace, or whatever, you might find the truth. But in a systematic way, taking that to someone else and helping someone else to get there, it's a totally different game altogether. So you finding truth is one thing, and taking someone else to that level is another thing. Now, what I'm saying is, when we look at the ancient system of Advaita Vedanta, it has been meticulously designed for thousands and thousands of years to do the latter part, to take someone in ignorance to knowledge, to wisdom. Whereas a teacher who has seen the truth in his life in this time might try, and he might even succeed, but maybe not as effectively and as efficiently, as these systems. Because and there is also an important concept of Adhikari in ancient Advaita Vedanta, which means who is eligible for these teachings. So it first of all disqualifies a certain segment of society, and it simply says that this is not for you. There's nothing wrong. It's not a judgment, but it's just that based on their nature and based on where they are at in their own journeys, non-duality is not for a lot of people. So there is a clear distinction that Advaita Vedanta makes on who is eligible for this. And there are a lot of parameters. There is, Shat Sampatti, the six qualities that are required. The ability to calm the mind, the ability to have that strong sense of intellect. So a lot of things are there. So I feel these frameworks are more powerful in a way, if a seeker is approaching this, this system that has been developed can be really, really powerful. So, but to your point, yeah, there are many wonderful teachers across the world also.
It's such a treasure in a way, for also for whole India. And I wonder
Yes.
why is it not somehow supported more in society, in politics, in teaching children, for example. Maybe they don't qualify to be introduced to this kind of teaching.
When we speak of the highest truth, that might be the case, but then the same truth is sort of distilled in a systematic way, and it is given at different dimensions to people at different level through stories that we call puranas, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also it's a multi-dimensional wisdom. One person can read the same verse and take something totally different than what someone else does. So these are very multidimensional teachings which will work at different level. So there has been efforts that were made earlier, but what happened was after colonization and extreme Western influence and Westernization, a sort of India sort of forgot its roots, its cultural roots, but now it's waking up slowly, as I'm seeing, because even before a decade when I was young, there was nothing like this. Now I can see every day there is a new teacher, there is a new book that is coming up, there is a new channel, and it's exciting. People are waking up to this ancient wisdom more and more every single day.
Especially India is like a place where there's so
Yeah,
many religions and a lot of them thrive. You have
yeah.
Christianity, you have Hinduism, and you have Zoroastrian. It's all there in India. You yourself, did you mingle with other religions? Do you have contacts to other religions? Are you talking to other religious people?
Yeah, in the sense, when I was in school, when I was in college, so it's all people from all backgrounds, all cultures, all religions. So I had friends who were from, different religions. So that was not even a thing that we, at that point we have in mind. So of course, yeah, I have interacted. It's a very diverse culture in India, and not within just Sanatana Dharma itself, what we call Hinduism itself. First of all, there is diversity in terms of religions, like you mentioned. But within Sanatana Dharma itself, it's so multi-dimensional, and Advaita is sort of looked at as just one small, tiny segment. There is yoga, there is even within Vedanta, there is Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, there is Sankhya, and there is Tantra. So Kashmiri Shaivism. There are so many different paths within Sanatana Dharma. It's very diverse. It's very diverse based on our level, based on our tendencies. We are very free to choose whatever resonates with us the most.
Yeah, I guess I have a suspicion that even if maybe someone goes into Christianity or Sufism or Sikhism, even there, they can, like, if they go deep, 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 they encounter similar concepts and similar
Yeah.
understanding. I mean,
Hmm.
even the Muslims say there's only one God. They use
Hmm.
this expression. So yeah, I'm very suspicious that a lot of truth is available through other religions as well. Although, of course, I
Yeah.
appreciate Advaita Vedanta is something that, as you said, is pretty much a proven
Yeah. Yeah.
path.
Yeah, yeah, correct. And yeah, there are, see, the same truth is said in different ways, but Advaita Vedanta just puts it directly. It is intellectual in the sense, like, for example, I heard one Swami saying this. For small kids, we say that sun rises from east and it sets in west, and this is the truth for you. But as he grows and as he evolves, we will say sun doesn't rise in east and set in west. The earth is the one that rotates, and it causes this kind of an illusion. Now both of these are truths, but there is a higher truth and there is a lower truth. for a person who is not at the level where he can accept or he can assimilate the higher truth, the lower truths are given. But when we hold on to the lower truth, saying that this is my book, this is my religion, this is what it is saying, and this itself is the highest truth, that is where we get stuck. So the idea is not to get stuck with a particular book or a particular philosophy, even, but it is just to evolve from lower truths to higher truths. Even in Christianity, Jesus says, the kingdom of God is within you. That means everything is within. But since that was given in a simpler language where at that context in that time most of the population could understand, maybe that was, that was the most appropriate thing for him to say based on the context. But when we study Advaita Vedanta, it puts it directly, like the nature of consciousness, Tattvamasi, you are it, you are the infinite consciousness. So it's more direct in its approach, and it doesn't hold back. It doesn't to sort of try to simplify or bring it in stories. Of course, there are a lot of stories, but the truth that it is telling, it's very direct. So that is what it differentiates Advaita.
Many people, they decide,
Mm.
I
Mhm.
prefer just a little bit of truth. And my truth is duality. And I can
Mhm.
experience it with my
Yes.
senses, and it's real. I can touch it and stop bothering me.
Yeah. So we should let them be. That's all. whatever, whatever floats their boat. Yeah.
Yeah, if it stops floating, some of them might
Correct.
rethink, well, why
Yeah.
doesn't it float anymore?
Correct, correct. And Vedanta tells this, right? The point of it is simple. You are not trying to understand the truth for the sake of understanding truth. You are trying to understand the truth to overcome suffering. Now, if you are in duality and if you are absolutely fulfilled and absolutely joyful, you are in eternal peace, then just go continue to be what, wherever you are. Because why would you change yourself if you are in eternal peace? But if you are in suffering, if you are in stress and anxiety, and if you think that there is something more to understand and know, and if you feel that lacking within you, then know that there is a way in which you can get to a place where you can attain absolute fulfillment and joy. That is Advaita. So if you want that, you can come here. Otherwise, if you feel happy wherever you are, you can be there. The ultimate goal is not even to understand the truth, but the ultimate goal is ananda. It is an infinite joy. So that is what we are seeking, each and every one of us.
If I'm generous, I might feel a little
Mm.
bit worried about some people. They are
Mhm.
beautiful, they are rich, they have everything, and they pretend that they are blissful and that everything is wonderful, and they even show it in the social media. Look how great I am! I'm so wow, I'm on it. I'm very close, breaking through,
Mhm.
finding total happiness. I'm just this one more car, just this one more job, just a little bit more money, and I'm getting there. And yeah, it's a fragile thing, because eventually they get older, they get sick,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
happens.
correct.
It's
Yeah,
tricky.
yeah, and that is the point Shankaracharya makes. He says this is the world of Maya, right? It is everything is temporary here. Everything, whatever you have here, you might be a billionaire or a trillionaire with everything, with all the youth and with all the relationships and money and everything. But for how long? How long? Even money can stay, but the body will not stay the way it is. So there is always some kind of a trade-off here in this domain. So wherever there is trade-off, there cannot be ultimate fulfillment. Wherever there is some kind of you know an incompleteness, there can never be true fulfillment. So that is the point. That is why the external reality is this, the world of Maya, which is, in its own way, it's incomplete. So if you want completeness, you must go within. So that is the point. And even some of the celebrities, like you mentioned, right, they go through a lot of stress and anxiety. Some of them commit suicide even after achieving all forms of success. And some others might be in a temporary phase of, where everything is going according to their plan. But like you mentioned, of course, the body ages after a few decades. Then what happens? So then there is something that we must get to, so that we are ultimately beyond suffering.
Yeah, and many people they might even get angry if I talk about Advaita, and they are sitting there, they have some coffee, they eat some cake, they look at the TV, and there's war, and people are suffering, and there's famine, and they feel bad about it. And they don't understand what are you talking about? This is nihilistic. You are bypassing. You're not respecting the war on the other side of the planet. It's difficult to put in context. What is your
Yeah.
point of view about
Yeah.
all the suffering in the world?
Yeah, yeah. I thought I went through this myself. I thought about it a lot on how initially I felt Vedanta to be nihilistic in its nature. It says neti neti, not this, not this. You are not the world. You are not that. You are not this. But this is this is the partial understanding of Advaita Vedanta. Um, when we look at what Vedanta says, from beginning to end, that is when we get the holistic picture. There is a famous work of Shankaracharya which is called Nirvana Shatakam, where in the beginning 5 verses he begins to say, Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham. I'm not my body. I'm not my mind. I'm not my senses. Like that, he goes on to the final verse where he says, nothing exists apart from me. So it's a paradox, but that is the truth. We are not anything in this world, but nothing in this world exists apart from us. In that way, we are one with the world. So it is actually the opposite of nihilism. And when we see someone suffering, why at all do we suffer? Right? That shows that there is a connection. That shows that deep within us, we might, at the physical level, we are totally disconnected. But why do we suffer, and why do we experience pain if we look at television and see an African kid suffering somewhere thousands and thousands of miles across where we live? So there is a connection. There is an inherent connection between us and this universe, which Advaita Vedanta recognizes. It says that is the truth. The duality and the separation that you are perceiving is only a superficial truth because of your mind and the ego. But deeply you are connected. That is why, it is actually the opposite of nihilism. It says everything is one and everything is you yourself.
Yeah, even in the outer world, I mean, scientifically, there's no separation because it's one
Yeah.
element beside another one and they are touching. And so we are actually connected to the person who's suffering
Yeah.
thousands of kilometers away. And it's still pretty hard for some people
Grasp.
to understand the responsibility about myself to be in peace inside, so I can create peace from the inside out. We are trying, there's so many activities, like people say, okay, we have to fight for peace. I have to get my money out and then I pay something and then they can buy weapons and they defend themselves, because so they don't have to suffer because they kill the other one first. I don't know. There's so many activities around it. Those
Yeah.
are ignore the fact that we have to create the peace inside of us to be able to generate it outside of us. And this is so hard to understand because people are they holding on to the facts. No, these people are suffering now and they have no choice. Do they have a choice?
Yeah, like when everyone, I truly believe that we have a choice to suffer or not to suffer. The point is we are ignorant of this choice. When we are ignorant of this choice, it is as though we do not have a choice, right? You might have the most powerful weapon in the world, and when you are at war, if you are not aware of it, if you do not know about it, then it's as good as not having it. So that is why I feel the wisdom of Vedanta is so important. When someone listens to this and understands that, yes, I do have a choice, I think that changes, because most people do not believe or do not even know that they have a choice, and they don't know how to live consciously. We call this unconscious creation at ACS. We are like simply living our lives without being aware of any of the fundamental laws of reality or the essence of reality. And when we become conscious and then when we live, that becomes conscious creation. So that is our primary focus, conscious creation for the majority of the world. Majority of the world might not be interested in non-duality, like you said. That is why in our community, ACS, we do not talk about non-duality a lot, because that is, of course, the highest truth, which we sometimes explore in our YouTube channel. But apart from that, conscious creation, this is relevant for everyone. How to live a joyful life, how to live a fulfilled life, and how to live with the understanding that I do have a choice, and go beyond that conditioning and programming. So that is relevant for everyone. So that should be our focus.
So if we think conflict, we are actually creating conflict. We are
Yes.
like the petri dish, you know. We have this certain thoughts and feeling and judgments, and this is something that we seed into the world. I remember a
Yes.
story about Ramana Maharshi. He had cancer. He had like a terrible thing going on with his arm, and they even tried to operate it under circumstances which nowadays would sound like torture, because there were nothing, no painkillers, nothing. And he endured it without flinching. And one would say, well, man, this is a sage. He might be able to do that. I don't know. Maybe he has special powers. But it seems that there's always this possibility that we can learn how to react to our environment, or
Yeah.
to maybe to the most terrible pain that is happening
Yeah.
to us. I mean, I talked to a
Yeah.
person also, he was tortured several times, and he went through with it. I saw him many, many, many years after the torture, and he had a life. He was talking. Everything was, yeah, it was a mirage because it happened. Still, the feelings, they were stuck in him. Of course, there was still some really anger about being mistreated that way, and it was torture. Yeah, but he couldn't control it. It just happened to him. And of course, we feel very bad maybe about these people. Those are in these conflict zones. They are innocent. They just had been born there. They had been raised there. They had been introduced into concepts of this is my country and this is my land. This is my culture. And I don't want that culture. I don't want that land. And then boom, they start fighting, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's not so nice
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to Sri Ramana Maharshi, of course, he was totally disidentified with the body. When he is in a place, when someone like that truly understands who he is, right, beyond the body, then the detachment becomes easier. And for us, it might look like a superpower from where we are at, but for a baby, whatever we do seems like a superpower. So it's just like just an evolution,
That's a
right?
good
As we
point.
grow.
I like that one.
Yeah. So it's just about learning and evolving, and of course it's possible for everyone. That possibility is there.
Well, yeah, we might even see it in, in movies. There's this hero, and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna sacrifice myself," and he goes into
Yeah.
the territory where they torture him and kill him, and he's just, "Okay, I'm the boss. I can do it." You know. I talked. I once was traveling in a boat, and then I had a chat with someone at the bar drinking coffee, and he said, "Yeah, I'm what you do," and yeah, I'm a kickboxer. And he said, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my God, this is terrible. How can you do that? There's so much pain. I don't like, even in normal sports, I don't like the pain." And he said, no problem, Someone's pulling out your fingernail. It hurts, of course, but you get used to it.
Anything can be learnt. So yeah,
Yeah, even pain can be
yeah,
accepted. Especially,
correct.
I mean, we know that from if we are conscious about ourselves, aware what's happening, we know that
Hmm.
when we hurt ourselves, that we
Hmm.
can pay attention to it and like make
Yeah.
it worse.
Yeah, correct. But I think I feel, yeah, there is a difference between enduring pain and transcending pain. When you spoke about the kickboxer, he was enduring pain. His capacity to bear pain was very high, so he was able to go through that pain. But when you gave the example of Sri Ramana Maharshi, he was not enduring the pain. He had transcended the pain. It's a different domain altogether where pain does not affect him at all. He's not trying to control his reactions, or he's not trying to show that he can take the pain, but he's simply not affected by the pain. These people who are enlightened, who are at that state of beyond the body, whatever happens to the body happens to the body, but they understand that they are not the body. So there is a literal gap between who they are and the body, so whatever happens to the body does not affect them. So that is that highest state that is talked about in Vedanta.
And are you on your personal way to enlightenment? Is that something you pursue?
I feel all of us are on our way to enlightenment, so in that way, yes. But yeah, I'm a seeker. I'm just learning every day. I'm trying to evolve myself.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
What else is
like
here to do, Eventually you
yeah,
find
correct.
out amassing more money and more things and
Yeah, and
yes.
Swami Vivekananda mentioned this. Like everyone is on their way to enlightenment, whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not. Maybe in this life, maybe in a few other lifetimes, or maybe after a few thousand lifetimes, whatever it is. Even if you're seeking money, ultimately you will come to a point where you understand that money is not the absolute thing, and then you will go on to seek something else, maybe power. And then comes a point where you understand that power is not the ultimate thing, then you go on to seek something else. You will have to come to Brahman. You will have to come to something which is truly infinite, and nothing else is truly infinite. So in that way, through trial and error, each and every one of us are in our journeys to enlightenment.
Yeah, so we should not judge about people those run the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eventually,
Yeah, yeah.
eventually they will turn around. So
Yeah, yeah.
you,
There is
you
tech.
there on the other side of the screen, you are that are looking to this conversation. Eventually, I must have a suspicion that you might be on your way to enlightenment. Go on.
Yeah. Everyone is in their own way. Yeah.
Yes. And also we should I'm very much fan of respecting other religions because
Yes.
maybe they have also a way to get to enlightenment. Maybe they speak a different language, they use other
Mhm.
words, they use other methods, they have other forms of devotion, other forms of studying, they have different books. There's a couple of very interesting books out there as well, and they have
Correct.
maybe different teachers. Those can help them to understand these books.
Mm.
And so I have hope for them very much, the same
Correct.
as
Yeah.
for me
Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Every religion, I feel, at least every major religion in its own way, it's trying to tell the truth. But what happens is, like I mentioned, when they express the truth, these teachers, in the form of stories or allegories, based on that context, there is a lot of scope for misinterpretation. Same verse can be looked at as propounding peace, and the same verse can be looked at as propounding war, based on where we are at as a civilization. So we should, I think, develop that viveka, that clarity, to a level of intellect to understand the deeper essence of what these books and these teachers were trying to say.
I understand that, like, experiencing truth is a form of
Mm.
understanding, of
Mm.
feeling. So eventually, it doesn't matter what kind of language and practice and whatever method you are using. Eventually, when you reach this point of real understanding of truth, once it exposed itself, then that's it. You don't need the methods, you don't need the words, you don't need the teachings in a way.
Yes. Yes, Upanishads say this. Like once you get to that point, you don't need. At least in my experience, I've not come across any other religion. Upanishads are not purely religious, but any other book that says ultimately you don't need this book also. That's a profound thing to say, because most of the religions stick to a book and they say the book itself is the ultimate truth. But how can a book be the ultimate truth, right? Book is a book. So that is what we miss. So that is what the Upanishads say. Ultimately, when you get to that point, this is just a guide. This is just a support system for you to get to that point. After that point, you don't even need the Upanishads. So that is what it says.
In your point of view, what do you think? What is your opinion about the value of being a human, compared, for example, to what's very fashionable right now, having artificial intelligence, having robots, having machines? Those are very, very powerful, and many times so much more powerful than humans effectively. So, what's left for us little humans?
What's left for us is actually to explore the truth, explore who we are more deeply. Because, like you said, whatever we can do in terms of our physical capabilities, AI is either uh, AI has either replaced us already or it is going to replace us, whether it is writing or painting or coding or these things that we were so proud of, that compared to other species that we could do. It's no longer, there is not even a competition. Like I was looking at this research, which said AI is better than almost 98% of writers and coders. So it's in the top leagues now, and it's only a matter of time where it evolves even further. So, but it is simply a tool. It is simply a system, right? Like I try to have a conversation with it. I try to have a. We actually recorded this and we posted it on YouTube. We try to have a deep conversation with it and the nature about the nature of consciousness and Advaita, what it says, and how AI looks at itself. It's ultimately just a tool. It has access to a vast amounts of data, and it is an intelligence which can go through that data and synthesize it and come up with answers. But beyond that, it doesn't even exist from its perspective. It from its perspective, it is nothing. It is not even aware of its existence. So in that way, AI can never be compared to a human being. But in terms of capabilities, it is very capable. In terms of technology, technological advancements, I think we'll see some really amazing things in the coming years and decades. But ultimately, consciousness, Vedanta speaks of consciousness. That is what we must explore as human beings, because the point of being a human, right? Like the point of life is to live a fulfilled, joyful life. Who cares if AI can do things better than us, right? If we do not let that affect us, it will just be a tool for society. It will do everything more efficiently, more effectively. But if we go deep and find our purpose and find who we are, and if we are truly joyful and fulfilled, then that will not be an issue. AI will not be an issue.
I allow myself to think that there are just a handful of people, and they decide, okay, I'm gonna use this tool for me and my
Mhm.
stuff and what I want to do. So they are spiritually speaking, maybe not so evolved. They are very
Mm.
materialistic. They very much believe that they are their bodies and their minds. And now they have all this money in their hand and they're making more money and they are
Mm.
developing AI. It's not like you and me. We just use it,
Mm.
but we use it the way it is given to us by people those have maybe faraway interests in applying this form of technology to dominate the majority
Mm.
of people those are on this planet. So I'm worried about the young people, recognize, you're just using it, but recognize that you are also in power. You have your voice and you have to speak out and you have to you have to decide if you want to rely on AI, or maybe you might want to be suspicious. Maybe you want to vote someone who says, well, we use cars to be very fast on the street, but
Mm.
there are rules how to use the car to not hurt others. Now we have this rush for artificial
Mm.
intelligence, and it's mainly fueled by interests to make more money faster and dominate markets and stuff like this. So it's a little bit, yeah, edgy right now.
Yeah.
I don't know next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Correct. The human evolution is paramount, especially, at the political level, people need to evolve to begin to see the reality holistically for what it is. From that perspective, better decisions can be taken. And one more thing that can really happen, hopefully, I feel, is if this wisdom of Advaita Vedanta in its essence can be deeply integrated into AI, where it begins to, at the fundamental level, not on a superficial level, but at the fundamental level, if we can develop AI with this understanding, and if we can put this understanding deep within it, then the dangers of AI, why what so many people are not worried about, I think we can mitigate that when that technology begins to perceive reality or understand reality through this lens. It will take better decisions than serving one corporate agenda. To instead of doing that, it begins to serve the mankind. And I think regulations can help. Of course, regulations will definitely help for this.
Yeah,
Mm.
because we are creators, and so if we have rules, then we
Mm.
create along the rules. If we don't
Yeah,
have morality and rules, then
correct.
anything can happen. And
Correct.
most probably someone's gonna break the rules for their
Yeah. I
egoistic.
think this will happen very soon because every industry has regulation. The problem with AI is it's new, so there has not been time at the political level to set regulations for this industry. But since it's growing at this pace, definitely in the coming years we will see very strong regulations in all countries.
Yeah, let's
But
hope.
again,
Yeah.
even to decide those regulations, right? That is the problem. Regulations will come, but how good of a regulation it is depends on the level of awareness of that person who forms that regulation. So again, that is key.
Yes, I mean, that's somehow how it goes with
Mm.
new inventions.
Correct.
They had to
Mm.
drop an atom bomb on Japan with 200,000 people dying. So hopefully we don't have to go through that experience with AI,
Correct.
hopefully
Mm.
not so much suffering.
Mm.
And it's really a moment of people to wake up to it and understand the power of it. It's not, you don't want to send your 3-year-old to play with fire in the park, you know
Yes. Mm.
so we have
Yeah.
to, yeah, we have to be aware of it and spread the news, and so people
Mm.
understand how powerful
Yeah.
it might be very soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
So, I would like you to maybe tell us how can people connect with you? We will put also a couple of links in the description here beyond this video, so then you can
Yeah.
go directly to web pages and connect with the work you are doing. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, so primarily what we do is we try to synthesize the wisdom of Advaita Vedanta. And primarily we talk about conscious creation, like I mentioned, how to make this practical in our lives and live a conscious life and create our lives consciously to experience abundance and fulfillment in alignment with this truth. And mostly all our videos are on YouTube. That is the first place to learn more about Advaita Conscious Society. But if someone is more serious and who wants to join our community, we have a community called the Advaita Conscious Society, where we have systems and programs and weekly sessions where we guide people through a journey of conscious creation. So, again, these are the two ways.
Is there like a final statement you could give us? Some final
Hmm.
words, those you can offer to
Yes.
our viewers.
Yeah, the Chandogya Upanishad says this famous verse, it says Tatvamasi. It means you are it. You are everything that you are looking for. You are the solution to all your problems. You are everything you are aspiring for. You are the ultimate source of joy, fulfillment, and abundance. There is nothing apart from you. So, everything that you're looking for is you yourself. So, this is sort of an ultimate statement that we can say with the understanding of Vedanta.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Namaste. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Shivoham.